Welcome back to part 4 of creating a customer profile for an individual account. In this video, we're going to learn how to complete the KYC AML tab of a customer profile. This section is to help you better identify your customer. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. AML is for Anti-Money Laundering. We're going to start by filling out the fields below. When you find yourself doing multiple transactions, usually in a large amount, you'll want to input the date your business relationship started with your customer, right over here. You can either click on the calendar and select a date or just type it out. Let's say we just started today. You'll note you can also tick off the box here to show that you have an established business relationship, or click again if the relationship has been terminated. You can also leave this blank if you're still in the process of developing a relationship and understanding your customer. For now, we're going to check it off one more time for an established business relationship, since we've put in a date of once we started that relationship. Next, we're going to input the purpose of business relationship, which is the PIN, purpose and intended nature of the business. So this could be, for instance, foreign exchange, family support, trading, investments, or whatnot. We're going to put foreign exchange. And moving on to the next box here, purpose of transaction. This is the general purpose of the transaction. You'll notice a drop-down menu where you can choose one of the selected fields. We're going to select general foreign exchange. And now moving on to the source of funds / wealth. Where did this person gather their wealth? It could be personal income, savings account, inheritance, investment redemption, so on and so forth. You'll have different fields depending on your company. Let's go with inheritance for now. And later you're going to put the estimated monthly income in general. You'll also note a checkbox over here asking if this is a homeowner. Now this is helpful to know if you're looking for a loan from a bank, for instance. You can check it off if the person is a homeowner, or leave it blank if you're not sure. Moving on to the next field, estimated asset worth. This is related to the credit of the customer. And the source, this is going to be where you gathered this information from. For example, you could have gathered it from Google, from a survey, or asking the customer, or a KYC intake form, for instance. Now we're going to move down to the AML rules section. You can put a customer on hold by ticking the on hold box here. Once you check this off, you need to provide a reason for placing the customer on hold, i.e. photo ID appears to be fake. In the same way, we can check off the suspicious box and enter in a reason for your suspicion. Remove that for now, and we can remove the hold as well. Say someone is internal or is your boss. You can skip the KYC review for them by ticking off the box, Omit KYC Review. You can also whitelist a client. When you would likely use this box is if, say, your customer's name has been cleared, however, they have a name that's very close to a person who is on the sanctions list, and they're repeatedly having to do extra screening for this. If you're confident they are not actually on the sanction list, you can check off the whitelisted box here, so they can technically skip the screening in the future. You can add the date that the screening skip will end over here. Let's go ahead and add the date, say a year from now. You can also input the reason down here of why this person was whitelisted. Now moving on to the screening section below. This is where you can input someone's PEP status. PEP stands for politically exposed person. It's very important to note that someone who is on a PEP list is not sanctioned, but they are high risk and must be noted here. Note that this tick box actually has 3 options. If you're uncertain, you can leave it blank with the question mark. If you know this person to be politically affiliated, then check it off and enter the basis of your determination just below over here. Or click again if they are not a PEP and you have confirmed this, again inputting the reason you came to this conclusion. We can also include the client's HIO status. HIO stands for Head of International Organization, i.e. someone who works at the World Bank or the UN. This is another 3-option checkbox. The status can be unknown, positive, or negative. And again, you can include your basis for this in the field underneath. Note here, right over here, you could check someone against the sanctions list just by clicking over here. And the name isn't present in the sanction list, so you can see a green checkbox here. We can refer to the table below for verification. If all your checklists are green, then your customer is cleared. If you see any orange, we don't see any here right now, but that's a possible match. So you want to check if there's a similar name on the sanction list. It might be a false match. If it is a false positive, you can check over here, match is false positive, and the basis of your determination. And if you see red, then there is a direct match on the sanction list, and you don't want to proceed with that transaction if that's the case. And moving on over here, this is where we can enter if these transactions are being performed on behalf of a third party. Check positive if there is a third party involved, and if so, be sure to enter the third party's information and screen them as well. You can do that by clicking on the magnifying glass here. And you can add the third party's name by clicking on the plus sign here. And you can fill in all the fields below. You can notice here that there is a drop-down menu under Occupation. Select one that applies, and date of birth. The third party can also be a company. If that is the case, you can check off this box here, and then fill in the company relevant details, company name, type of business, incorporation number, so on and so forth, and the individual authorized. There may be more than one individual. In that case, you can input all their names here. Once you're done, click Save. We're going to cancel this for now. Ignore and continue. And close this. And now hit the button again if a third party is not involved. You can leave the box blank by hitting it one more time if this is unknown. And now something handy to note. The log below is where any checking across sanctions lists and the results that come up are logged. This is extremely handy to confirm to auditors if you had checked the customer against the sanctions list before you process their transaction, as the log tracks the date each check was made. Always be sure to check against the sanction list before you process a transaction for the customer. Click Save, and then hit Next. That's it for now. We'll continue in the next lesson to go over the tab Link.